Welcome back to the wild side of the Cleveland Flats. 1990s, rivers glowing, music is loud. Any weekend, you might spot a tribe player or two living it up, heading somewhere that the cameras never follow. Tonight's story, the night that Cleveland Indians closer Jose Mesa stepped into the world, and it nearly derailed everything. Jose Mesa was a big name in Cleveland. In 1995, he had been lights out, helping the tribe to reach the World Series. 96, still the closer, 39 saves, an all-star, but the bullpen started showing signs of shakiness. The tribe won 99 games, mostly because of the offense, gets knocked out of the ALDS by the Orioles. Off the field, like many pro athletes, Mesa enjoyed the nightlife, and he went to the Flats often. Back then, the Flats was peak chaos. Bars and nightclubs jammed across the Cuyahoga River. Shooters on the West Bank was the big draw there. The East Bank's, the basement was the big draw there. There were plenty of other spots where things got wild after dark. December 21st, 1996, a Saturday night. Mesa and a friend meet two 26-year-old women at a nightclub. The exact name of the club was never released publicly. It was just called A Night Spot in the Flats. The group leaves together and ends up in a motel in Lakewood. What happened inside that room led to some serious accusations. The women told police they were fondled against their will. One said Mesa unzipped her jeans and forced his hand inside while still in the car. There was also a claim that a purse was taken to keep her from leaving. The women reported it. Charges came quickly. On December 28th, police arrest Mesa while he's sitting in his car in the Flats. They find a loaded 9mm handgun inside, which adds a weapons charge. A few short weeks later in January, Mesa is indicted on rape, gross sexual imposition, theft, and more. Cleveland star closer is suddenly on trial for what started out as a night in the Flats. The trial hits late March. The women testify. The defense argues it was consensual. On April 9th, 1997, after about 7 hours of deliberation, the jury delivers the verdict. Not guilty on the rape charge, the sexual imposition counts, and theft. Mesa walks out a free man, though he still has a weapons case to deal with. So what's the postscript? Some Cleveland fans couldn't help but see a little karma at work. Just 7 months later, in Game 7 of the World Series against the Marlins, Mesa was on the mound with a 1-run lead in the ninth. He couldn't hold it. He allowed the game-tying run, and the Indians lost in extra innings. The city's long championship drought intact. Whether you believe in karma or not, the story perfectly captures the wild side of the 1990s in the Flats. Bright lights, big personalities, long nights, and trouble that sometimes followed athletes all the way out the door and into the courtrooms. The exact bar may never have been named, but the vibe of that era lives on. If you were out in the Flats back in those days, or remember any of the wild stories, drop them in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and let me know what other Flats tales we should cover next. On tap in the series, we have the ESPN anchor gone wrong, and we also have Heather Locklear and her motley crew of friends getting in some chaos as well. Head back to the leader. We got all the great stories. Follow the leader.